Hi, I was asked to make a couple videos about how I do a couple things, and since I'm pretty new at this, it might go a little bit rough. I had a Boston butt roast. It was almost 8 pounds. Had a big fat bone in it. So I cut around the bone as best as I could to get all the meat off I could. And this I'll put in my electric pressure cooker later and get the rest of the meat off to use for carnita tacos or something like that. The meat that came off in nice strips like this, I'm going to make buckboard bacon out of. I'm going to cure the meat and later I'm going to smoke it. And then after it's nice and smoked, I'll put it on my slicer or just slice it with a knife. It just depends how easy it's to get to. This pile over here is what came off of the rest of the bone that had a lot of gristle, or it didn't come off clean enough to make anything real appetizingly pretty. So these are the jars that's going to go in. We're going to pressure cook that, pressure can that, because anytime you pressure can meat, it doesn't seem to matter how nasty a cut of meat it is. It will come out very soft, very tender, and very usable. It can be used and served with my spätzle. We can make pulled pork with it. We can make the tacos with it. There's a lot of uses that you can use your pork for after you can it. And I always try to salt the bottoms so I can just look at the jar and see if there's salt in the bottom. That's kosher salt. You don't want to use table iodized salt because that'll make your canning not come out very good. I actually have canning salt, but I just have this closer. So what we're going to do, and I forgot the garlic. In all of my meat, I always season it with a couple slices of dehydrated garlic. And dehydrated garlic is pretty strong stuff, so you don't want to use too very much of it. So we're going to start stuffing our jars full here. I pressure can almost everything I can. It saves a lot of work as far as I'm concerned. Now, I've recently been told that when it comes to pressure, well, when it comes to even water bath canning, if you are water bath canning your items for more than 20 minutes, you do not have to sanitize all your items. And you are no longer supposed to, boil your lids. You're just supposed to wash them and put them on. I'm trying to get these evenly. And a lot of people don't put any water into their meat they can. The last couple times, the broth that came off my meat, I've used it for things. And it came in very handy, but there wasn't enough of it, so I am going to add a little bottle of water. We are on well water out here, and for anything for anything I'm going to can, I'm going to use bottled water. We also have a water dispenser. This is just helpful. Also, I find that if I put a little water into my meat, it makes getting the bubbles out so much easier. It gives something to fill up those those air pockets, and you can really see how much air pockets you have because the water goes to the bottom. And you'll find you have a lot more head space than when you just have the water laying on top. Then we're going to take a paper towel and we're going to wipe the edges of our jars with a little vinegar. That's what was in the bowl. Now, I have one particular friend that is just scared to death pressure can, and I have a couple friends that just think it must be so hard. I think I'm gonna move one piece of meat over there. And really all I did, I put the spices and the salt in. That was just salt and garlic. You all saw that. I'm gonna put my clean jar lids on. Do them finger tight. After I wiped the rims and I took out the air bubbles, I like being able to look down and see that there's salt in there. It might be a little heavy on the salt, but pork, it'll be alright. That one's especially heavy on the salt. Okay, for this small little batch, I'm just going to use my tiny little canner. It's a 1957 and I love it, but it doesn't do a lot of big jobs. It holds 4 pints, and that's all it will hold. I only have 3. Now, each pint typically holds about a pound. Of meat. Right. I'm not actually going to start the canning. Gosh, I should. You put your cold jars into a cold pan of water. You don't want to put any pressure on your glass jars. Right, I'm going to hook this closed. Put it on high. Wait for it to start boiling. I was a little nervous. I did use this stove once to can, and when I used the large burner for this small canner, it made too much pressure. I turn it down, and it just seemed that the burner is just too large for that small canner. Alright, so now we're going to move along to curing our bacon. This is all the same pork that was on this board. I'm not really worried about it yet. I made my cure with brown sugar and some Morton's Tender Quick and a few spices. I think a little bit of cayenne pepper, a little bit of paprika, brown sugar. This is what the Morton's canning, or the Tender Quick looks like. You can get it in a lot of places, and then you cannot get it in a lot of places. But I think during barbecue season, it's going to be a lot easier to get. Let me get a clean spoon. This will work. I'm going to take my mixture of curing salts and sugars here and spices, and it smells really good. I didn't put any extra garlic in it, but I think I will drop a few cloves into here while it cures. This isn't a one-day thing. You have to let this cure for a couple days. And this is a dry cure. I'm just going to put it all on my meat, roll the meat around. I don't know if you can see that. you just roll it around. A lot of times if I want it to go a little faster, I will vacuum seal them. And it makes a big difference. You can really tell the difference. All right. I put about 2/3 of a cup of Morton Tender Quick in this bowl that is filled with quite a bit of sugar and other spices. Now you're going to know the kind of spices your family prefers, and you can probably find a lot of recipes online. Now you can see that my buckboard bacon is thoroughly covered, and I'm just going to put that where it can rest. In a Ziploc bag. A very large Ziploc bag. And you're going to try not to get any of the sugar on the zipper because that never works very well. Now this is going to stay in my fridge. Oh golly, I did it anyway. My zipper doesn't want to lock because I got sugar on it. This curing is going to take a lot of moisture out, so you might even want to double bag it because it's going to be drippy before it's all over. I'm going to press all the air I can out of it, and I'm going to let that go. It's already starting to weep and be mushy. It's going to go in my fridge for a day or two. Even 3 is not a problem. Now, so far, we've gotten 3 pounds of pork for the canner. I don't know how many pounds in that bacon. And we still have this bone that's going to be pressure cooked. So the meat will come off of it for probably tacos. One roast cost me $10.25, and I've already got 3 meals in the jars, several breakfasts, or even sandwiches, lunch sandwiches, with the buckboard bacon I'm going to make. Now, my husband brought me a gift, and a lot of husbands are not this thoughtful and kind. My husband brought me a ham, a green ham, so that I could make a ham. And our next video is going to be making a ham, curing it and then smoking it. I'll come back and show you what to do with the canning. We know that when the steam starts venting, we let it vent for 10 minutes. Then we place our little weight on it. And then we're going to process our pint jars for 75 minutes. Until something happens, I'm just going to shut the camera down. Okay, so I vented my steam for 10 minutes and I added my 10-pound weight. And right now we have a timer set to 75 minutes. When I started to jiggle, I turned my fire down so that I had a consistent jiggle. You do have to listen to this for the next 75 minutes. Typically, you can get it to slow down by turning your heat down just a little bit, but you don't want to slow it down too far because you need to have it jiggling consistently throughout the 75 minutes. You don't want it to stop. We'll turn the video back on and let you see what happens when it's time to take it off of the burner. Okay, our timer went off and we let the pressure decompress on its own. Just turning off the heat for it. Now it's time to remove the weight, and you should not hear a big whoosh because you've already let it decompress. It's been sitting here for about 10 or so minutes, and it did not release steam because I already let it decompress on its own. Okay, I can open it with no problem. Everything's still bubbling. That's my bone I boiled because I was going to use it for some tacos or something. I'm going to set them out here. I was kind of hoping to start hearing pinging. As they cool, you'll hear and see a difference in the keep leaning against the dishwasher, against the top. Right now it's kind of poking out. Some of these are, I believe, already sealed, but they're too hot. I'm going to leave them sit here with the rings on, and I'll probably won't take the rings off until either much later tonight when they're all the way cool, or tomorrow morning. And I just let my canner run while I was making dinner. You can see my dinner mess. That's at least 3 meals right there. We have the buckboard bacon, that'll be another several meals. And the big ham, that's going to be a couple meals in and of itself. And if I pull the meat off this bone, it's probably not going to make very much. I can probably make, didn't look that great. But I can probably do something with it. If nothing else, somebody's dogs will be happy. All right, well, it was that easy. Anybody could do it as long as you have a pressure canner. You don't even need a big one. I hope this will convince you that canning is worthwhile and it's not difficult. There is one special friend I have that I'm hoping will be convinced canning is not difficult. You aren't going to blow up your kitchen. If you just take a few, use your common sense and take a few steps towards safety by doing things like not leaving it unattended. Don't let your canner run dry. I still have quite a bit of water in here and it went for 75 minutes. I don't know if you can see how much water is in there, but it's all right. So that was something you can do with leftovers. You can take a roast and put it into several pieces. Last night we got some steaks that were kind of tough, so I was able to make 3 jars of beef, and it was just this easy. I just let them cook in the background while I did other things. Most of us can find something to do for 75 minutes, even if it's sitting at the dinner table just chatting with your husband. He might like that. All right. If you guys have ideas for other videos, I hope that you'll share them. Oh, goodness. And hopefully my video technique will get a little easier. But in the meantime, it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't even have to be that time consuming, because you're managing to do something, you start to enjoy it. It doesn't feel like it's taking forever. All right, well, we'll see you again on the next video. If you have ideas for one, let me know.